I had always been told never to walk alone at night, especially in this part of town. The darkness was thick, swallowing the feeble glow of the streetlights and casting long, eerie shadows that seemed to dance and whisper sinister secrets. But that night, I didn't have much of a choice. I had spent the evening at a dingy, run-down bar on the outskirts of town. The place was a haven for those seeking refuge from their troubles. The dimly lit interior was a sanctuary for loners like me, a place where you could drown your sorrows in cheap whiskey and forget the world outside. The clock on the wall ticked closer to midnight, and I knew it was time to leave. The bar had grown quieter as the patrons slowly dispersed, leaving me alone with the melancholic melodies of a jukebox in the corner. I stumbled to my feet, the alcohol still coursing through my veins, and made my way to the exit. As I pushed open the creaking door, a gust of chilly wind greeted me, sending a shiver down my spine. I pulled my coat tightly around me and stepped out into the desolate street. The night air was filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the distant hum of traffic and the faint rustling of leaves. The walk home was a short one, or at least it should have been. I had taken the same route countless times, yet that night, the familiar streets seemed foreign and foreboding. The dimly lit path ahead twisted and turned, casting unsettling shadows that played tricks on my mind. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound of my own footsteps echoed in my ears, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every now and then I glanced over my shoulder, but there was nothing there, just the empty, quiet street. As I turned a corner, I noticed a figure in the distance, a hunched silhouette, barely visible under the dim streetlight. My unease grew as I approached, and I tried to dismiss it as a trick of the darkness, but as I got closer, I could see the figure more clearly. It was a man, or at least it looked like one. His clothing was tattered, and his face was hidden beneath a dirty hood. He stood perfectly still, his eyes fixed on me, or so I thought. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could feel them, piercing into my soul with a malevolent intent. I tried to walk past him without making eye contact, but as I drew nearer, he stepped directly into my path, blocking my way. His breath, foul and putrid, assaulted my senses. Panic surged through me as I realized I was trapped. "Who are you?" I stammered, my voice quivering. No response. The man simply stood there, unmoving, as if waiting for something. My heart raced and I felt a bead of sweat trickle down my temple. I knew I had to get away from him, but there was nowhere to go. Without warning, he reached out and grabbed my arm with a grip that felt like iron. Pain shot through me as his fingers dug into my flesh. I struggled to break free, but it was as if he were rooted to the spot. Then, the man began to speak, his voice a raspy whisper that sent shivers down my spine. "You shouldn't have come here," he hissed. Terror coursed through my veins as I desperately tried to pull away from his grasp. I could feel my strength fading, my vision blurring as darkness closed in around me. But before I could succumb to unconsciousness, the man released his grip and let me stumble to the ground. I lay there, gasping for breath, as he retreated back into the shadows. He seemed to melt into the darkness itself, leaving me alone and shaken on the cold pavement. I scrambled to my feet and staggered away, my mind racing with fear and confusion. The rest of the journey home was a blur. I stumbled through the dark streets, my heart pounding, my thoughts consumed by the encounter with the mysterious man. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had narrowly escaped something unspeakable. When I finally reached my doorstep, I fumbled for my keys and rushed inside, slamming the door shut behind me. I locked every bolt and chain, my hands trembling as I tried to make sense of what had just happened. Had it all been a hallucination brought on by too much alcohol? Or had I truly encountered something sinister that night? For days I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind outside filled me with dread. I couldn't shake the feeling that the man was still out there, watching and waiting. Then, one night, as I lay in bed, I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps approaching from the darkness. My heart raced as I realized that he had found me, that he had come for me. I reached for my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed 911. But before I could make the call, the footsteps stopped right outside my bedroom door. I held my breath, listening intently, my pulse pounding in my ears. And then in a voice that sent chills down my spine, the man whispered, "You can't escape me." I knew I was trapped, that there was no way out. The darkness closed in around me, suffocating and relentless, as I faced the terrifying truth that some horrors could not be outrun, no matter how fast or far you walked into the night. Your support is the secret sauce of this channel's success. Spice it up. Give that like button a little kick, share the flavor, and savor the exclusive perks by subscribing today.